The Centers for Disease Control and the U.S. Food and Drug Administration have expanded the emergency use authorization so that all adults over 50 years old have the option to receive another COVID-19 booster shot. Both agencies made the announcement Tuesday. For both the Pfizer and Moderna vaccines, a second booster can be given 4 months after the first. A second booster shot was previously only allowed for people over the age of 12 who had severe immune deficiencies. The CDC says the additional booster is important for those 65 and older and those 50 and older with underlying medical conditions because they are at higher risk for severe disease from COVID-19. Police in Chicago have arrested a man who was spotted running on the tarmac at Midway Airport. The 33-year-old allegedly hopped a barbed wire fence to get onto the runway. Police say he also took off his clothes and climbed on the wing of a plane. After being apprehended, the man was taken to the hospital for minor injuries and an evaluation. Charges against him are pending and the incident is under investigation. Miles above the tensions between the U.S. and Russia on Earth, there was a peaceful transition of power Tuesday between a Russian and American in outer space. Russian cosmonaut Anton Skylarov, who has been commanding the International Space Station, passed the key to the ISS to American astronaut Thomas Mashburn. The Russian, along with fellow cosmonaut Peter Dubrov and NASA astronaut Mark Vande Hey, will leave the space station and return to Earth on Wednesday. The NASA astronaut will be returning to Earth, a record holder. With this mission, Vande Hey will have beaten the record for longest single spaceflight by an American astronaut. Previously, the record was set at 340 days, but Vande Hey will blow away the number with a record-breaking 355 days in space. Well, a potential glimmer of optimism in the war in Ukraine. Russia says it will reduce its military operations near the capital of Kyiv. Ukraine's president called the negotiations positive, but adds they did not drown out explosions of Russian shells. NBC's Bree Jackson has more.
More than 1 month into its assault on Ukraine, the Kremlin says it will drastically reduce military operations, a claim met with skepticism.
We'll see. I don't read anything into it until I see what their actions are.
The Pentagon says a small number of Russian troops have moved away from Kyiv, but call it a repositioning, not a real withdrawal.
Russia has failed in its objective of capturing Kyiv. It's failed in its objective of subjugating Ukraine.
Warning threats of violence remain.
But they can still inflict massive brutality on the country, including on Kyiv.
Word of a possible scale back comes after 4 hours of peace talks. Ukrainian officials drawing red lines.
We never go for any compromise concerning our independence, concerning our sovereignty and territorial integrity.
And offering neutrality in exchange for security guarantees. Meanwhile, some of the first Ukrainian refugees have made it to the United States.
I feel sorry for all that guys that are dying, for all those mothers that will not see their sons anymore.
As Russia promises to dial back troops, President Biden says the U.S. remains firm in its stance.
And we're going to continue to keep a close eye on what's going on.
The world watching peace talks with cautious optimism. In Washington, Bree Jackson for NBC News.